Hello and welcome to Fratello Talks. I'm your host Nacho. This week I'm joined by my colleagues
Timo
and
RJ.
And we are bringing you a special recording of the podcast where we're going to be running through some of the novelties from LVMH Watch Week.
In Miami.
In Miami, of course, very important. You just came back from there, RJ. For the people that are watching this, you will be there soon for us in this current time zone.
He will have come back a week from now.
Yeah, there's a multiverse in which RJ was already in Miami. No, anyway, that's fine. So we're going to run through some of the novelties. We're going to pick some of our favorites and have a little bit of a look at what LVMH has had in store for us early in 2024. But before we do that, let's check out what's on the wrist. Timo, let's start with you. What's on your wrist today?
Today, Speedy Tuesday, I'm wearing my Omega Speedmaster Apollo 15 35th anniversary limited edition with lovely rose gold elements. It's not Setna gold. That was still the time when Omega was featuring rose gold elements.
Okay.
And I'm wearing it, weirdly enough, on a No Time to Die NATO strap, which suits the watch incredibly well if you ask me, but might just be me.
Yeah, very cool.
That's
very,
nice.
very cool.
Yeah.
RJ, what's on your wrist?
Miami style.
Yeah, you're ready for Miami.
Yeah. It's my Abel Sport Classic chronograph, sometimes also dubbed as the 1911. It's the Abel that has a Zenith movement, El Primero movement, chronograph, and in two-tone, as it should be.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
It's the baller watch for Miami.
Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, and I'm wearing a Doxa Sub 300. I believe this is from 2017, the 50th anniversary version. Just taking this one for a spin today. It's not my watch, but yeah, it's one that I'm a big fan of. So it's always nice to get it on the wrist.
Yeah. I think they did quite a nice job since then.
Definitely.
Also before, of course, but if you see how popular they've become in the last few years, it's amazing.
For sure. And even innovating on, because this was quite a faithful reissue of one from 1967, but then I think that innovating from then, it's been quite a good road for Doxa so far. So excited to see what we'll get from them further down the line.
Yeah, and very unique. Like you can identify a Doxa immediately.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, talking about LVMH Watch Week.
Yes.
There's a couple of brands. There's also Louis Vuitton. But for LVMH Watch Week, we're talking about Bvlgari, Hublot, TAG Heuer, and Zenith.
Exactly. Yes. So we can kick things off. I have a bit of a cheat sheet here. We can kick things off with Bvlgari. So Bvlgari, RJ, I think you had a favorite release from them right away. So let's start off with the Octofinissimos, and I think your favorite is probably the yellow gold with the blue sunburst style. Right?
Guessed correct.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Very Miami style. It's a full gold, very nice brushed finish, and a blue dial. I also like the steel version with the Tuscan dial.
Yeah, Tuscan copper dial.
Yeah, that's the other one. But the gold one is. The Octofinissimos really work in gold. I think one of the first models came in this sandblasted gold finish, but I think the one
rose gold, right?
Yes,
rose gold with a sort of salmon matching kind of dial, like also pink.
It was like full gold and with a very nice sandblasted finish. It was really cool.
Very nice.
And now we see Octofinissimo with the same kind of finish as the steel version, so brushed or satin finish. Yeah. It really looks nice. It does the watch
a little bit of polishing in between the links as well.
Yeah, really very beautiful.
Cool. I think it's a geometric construction that you have with the Octofinissimo that it plays with the light so well that if you have the gold construction, it makes it shine.
For sure.
Really done well, because I think in the beginning you saw them often they were only titanium or the sandblasted rose gold. And a few years ago, you had the yellow gold and the rose gold version during Geneva Watch Days.
Yeah.
But this is something nice. And I also like gold and blue. I think it's a nice combination. But Octofinissimo.
Yeah,
really,
very,
really
very
nice.
Cool. So that one's priced at 48,700. And the steel version is 14,800.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then moving on, but keeping it gold, there was Bvlgari, also released in 38 millimeters with a mechanical movement and a 26 millimeter quartz version. The mechanical one also priced at around 14,500 euros.
Yeah, and that's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's funny, I actually don't like the Bvlgari line in general, usually.
Okay.
Because of the prominent Bvlgari on
That's
the bezel.
That's a Gerald Genta feature, man.
It's Genta's, yeah.
He was not always spot on, I guess.
Indeed, and it's just a bit too much. It's too loud for me.
Right.
I don't
right.
like it if you're really shouting, look at what kind of brand I'm wearing. It feels a bit too much on the nose.
Right.
But with the gold one, somehow it gives a bit of a Piaget kind of feeling, like a
Right.
jewelry watch kind of feeling
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me.
yeah,
And actually, I
for
really like it, and specifically with a black dial.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
It's a
because
winner.
it's a black dial and it's also a lighter colored dial. But I agree that the
Yeah.
black really works well on a black leather strap, and I think 38 millimeters is probably a good size for that
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
Just spot on.
So it's nice, it's dressy. I think it's 14K or something.
Yep. Yep.
So even for full gold watch, well, yeah, you don't have a gold
With a
bracelet,
mechanical
but still, yeah.
Yeah, it's reasonable. And then other than that, there were of course some Lucea releases, which were ladies models with some jewelry concepts, stone dials,
Yeah.
this kind of stuff, and one in 33 millimeters with an automatic movement, and one in 28 with a quartz.
And there was a book, right?
Yeah, and there was also a book released.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that was those are the highlights from
Bvlgari.
Bvlgari. I think the Octofinissimo in gold and also the Tuscan copper
Yeah.
dial are, I think, some of the highlights. But the
Yeah.
Bvlgari is also it feels very classic. It feels like something that's been there
Yeah.
all along. But yeah, well done from them. I
I
think.
can't stress enough how well the Octofinissimo bracelets are done.
Yeah.
I think designing a bracelet is such a tough job, and
Yeah.
I think they really nailed it with the Octofinissimo bracelet. It's really nicely integrated, wears nicely, looks nice.
Yeah.
Really well done. Yeah.
Absolutely. Perfect. Shall we move on to TAG Heuer?
Yes.
Let's do it. Perfect. So we start off with a connected caliber E4,
Yep.
45 millimeters,
In green.
and a green version. That's a new introduction. I think along with that release, there have been also a lot of faces.
Yeah. Watch faces.
Watch faces
Yep.
added for the display.
So you can have a digital tourbillon, man.
Yeah. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Digital tourbillon. It's an interesting thing, and of course that's a connected watch. So that is the I believe that's 1,700 Swiss francs.
Yeah.
Price for that, so around 2,000 euros.
And it's the same as
take.
existing
Yep.
E4 connected watches, I guess.
Exactly, just in a with a green rubber strap and a green, I believe it's ceramic bezel,
Mhm.
and that's the and I think the crown and pushers might also
Yeah.
be color matched.
Yeah.
I believe. So that's the first release from TAG Heuer, and then I think we also had the Dato. Teal,
Yes,
the
that's my
Carrera
favorite.
Dato,
Yep.
which is your it's a Glassbox case.
Yeah.
So the Glassbox concept, 39
Also in
millimeters.
green dial.
And you had some time actually before even.
Yeah, they
LVMH,
shipped us one, and I had time to wear it and try it. I really like it. I like the new Glassbox in general.
Yeah.
We had the gold one a few months ago that
Yep.
I really appreciated.
Very cool.
But also the one with the black dial is really nice. I think all models are nice, so I have to say. Also the blue one, they did a white one, I think for Porsche. Not sure. I think it was a
With
Porsche.
blue elements.
Yeah,
Usually,
white dial, and there was,
Yeah.
was some Porsche
Was that
elements in there.
Glassbox?
I think it was a glass box.
Okay.
But this one, the Dato, is I think it refers back to a 1968 Dato model.
Yep.
Um,
Single subdial
yeah.
chronograph, right?
and the color is kind of specific.
Yeah.
It's a bit of this petrol kind of.
Yeah. Teal.
Yeah,
I think they
teal.
call it. It's
But I liked it on the wrist. I
Yeah.
really liked it
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
definitely.
Better than on the press images that we saw in the
Yeah.
flash. It was really something nice.
It's a color you don't see a lot on watches. You don't
No.
see a ton of watches in this very specific shade.
No.
So
I think IWC with the Ingenieur, there's
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like it.
it's similar. It's not quite. It's not exactly the
Yeah.
same shade, but that is kind of
Yeah, I
what,
think I call it even
what comes to
petrol.
mind.
Something along
Yeah,
that line.
Yeah, but they're kind of, I think, looking to make it a bit of a signature thing with
Yeah.
the with
Yeah.
the.
But I
with
think
the
it's a
Carrera.
good move forward for the Carrera line.
Yep.
These Glassbox models. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they're a home run. It's basically
Yeah.
it's a new platform on which they can continue evolving the models.
Yeah.
The community likes it. It's well built.
And
Yeah.
it's priced at 6,400 Swiss francs. So that's
Yeah.
still fairly reasonable when you think about the wider scheme of things, right?
Yes.
Try to get a Daytona, try to get a Speedmaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chronographs from
Navi
Zenith
timer
are
and
going
so
to
on,
be
right?
more Navi timers. So
Yeah.
it's relatively, it's within the lower end of these very recognizable brands' chronograph offerings.
Yeah.
And
I
column wheel.
fully agree.
wheels.
Yeah,
So-
for sure. Absolutely. So then to double down on the teal, there's also a Carrera chronograph tourbillon,
Yeah.
42 millimeters. That's 23,500 Swiss francs.
That's not too expensive for a tourbillon, I would say. The question I always have with tourbillons in that price range, I think a lot of tourbillon enthusiasts, they buy a tourbillon because it's not a complication, but it's something that requires some craftsmanship, and then it's especially about the finishing.
Yeah.
And if you look at tourbillons in a lower price range, and not saying that 23K is not a lot of money, but
relatively speaking, for a tourbillon.
you buy it because it's a tourbillon, but the finishing is not on par with most of the tourbillons out there.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people buy tourbillons, like a Lange tourbillon. It's beautifully finished and crafted and so on. And there's a big difference between the price of a Lange tourbillon, of course, and this TAG Heuer. But I feel that people buy a tourbillon because of that. They want the highest of the highest quality or finishing available.
Yeah.
And I think the group that buys a tourbillon because it's affordable or cheap is much lower.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds a little bit like a budget super sports car. It's an oxymoron. It clashes.
Yeah, a little
Either
bit.
you want to have a tourbillon and you want to have it high end, and you're willing to pay the price for it, or you want a budget solution. But
On
doesn't
the other
really
hand,
work for me.
I could also be wrong because Christopher Ward, for example, did a watch with a gong, and of course it's not a minute
Canto.
Bel Canto, yeah.
yeah, it's not a
Canto,
minute repeater, but it has a nice function to it, and I think people, they want to have something similar, I guess. But I think the target audience is small for relatively affordable tourbillon.
What would be your go-to tourbillon? Just a bit of an aside. If you were to buy a tourbillon, is there one that really would appeal enough to you because it's a tourbillon above Breguet?
Because
would be
they are the inventor of
Okay.
the tourbillon, and
That's
I think
fair.
that it looks so nice in a Breguet Classique watch, or even in a Tradition. I think that's beautiful. For me, a tourbillon in a sports watch doesn't make much sense. A tourbillon doesn't make much sense anyway. A friend of mine had
a
a
pocket watch invention, right?
yeah.
Made more sense
Yeah.
then.
A friend of mine had a Panerai with a tourbillon. You couldn't even see it, but just it was a tourbillon.
That's awesome.
It doesn't make a lot of
It doesn't
sense
make
in a
sense,
dive
but
watch,
it's
right?
very cool. Very cool. How about you, Timo? Do you have a go-to tourbillon?
Probably an AP open work.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
I for me it would be half between the Blancpain 50 fathoms with the tourbillon. I think that's within the spectrum of doesn't make sense, kind of awesome though, or the Grand Seiko one that they introduced last year, the Kodo. I think
Kodo,
it was,
that's a good one.
It's
Yeah.
very, very impressive.
Yeah.
That movement is just incredible.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. One that we should have probably included in our highlights of 2023.
Yeah, it was something really special, I have to say.
for sure.
That's definitely true.
Yeah. Fantastic. Perfect. So then moving on, a little bit more TAG Heuer. There is the Carrera date Plasma Diamant d'Avant-Garde.
yes.
So that is the using this lab-grown diamond technology.
Yeah, they did it in the past few years as well, right?
Yeah.
Watches and Wonders.
Multi-
They've had several
releases.
chronographs, but this one, you're thinking Carrera and you're thinking a chronograph, but you have to think about the watches released last year in Watches and Wonders, these 36 millimeter time only with date Carrera models. So this is the format that it takes. It has that white gold 36 millimeter case. It has this poly diamond dial, and it has yellow diamonds, yellow lab grown diamonds, one on the dial for the logo, and one that I believe is 1.3 carats for the crown. So very impressive. I think that they're really flexing this technology, and it's interesting to see them sort of innovating in that space. So that's very cool. No price for that one.
Price on request.
Price on request. Cool.
But yeah,
so,
it's a kind of watch. It's a showcase. It's a tour de force of what they can do.
Yeah.
And oftentimes with those diamond watches, it's a bit underappreciated, I feel, in the community. It's not a watch I would personally want to wear, but looking at it, the color scheme is really nicely done. The finish is it's immaculately finished. So yeah, it's a tour de force. But
speaking of tour de force, we're moving on to Hublot.
First, if we first go back to TAG Heuer.
Yeah.
For me, TAG Heuer, since a long time, TAG Heuer has been all over the place. I think in the last 10 years. Guy Simon, Jean-Claude Biffert, now it's Julien Tonard again. Before it was Arnaud. Sometimes it seems that they don't know which direction to go. And currently it seems they go just in all directions. They cover everything and anything, and perhaps that's the way forward. I don't know.
Right.
But for me, I think last year was interesting because it was like Carrera, 60 years. And for me, that's TAG Heuer.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious in what direction Julien Tonard will carry it, where he wants to go with it. I think he did a good job at Zenith.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
We'll cover that later on. So yeah, very much looking forward to see where it will go in 2024.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Cool. So then moving on to Hublot, we start off with their tour de force for this batch of releases. So there's the MP10 linear weight tourbillon, which is MP, obviously, manufacture piece, which is where they sort of try to show off something that's truly innovative, trying to sort of reinvent the wheel in a very sort of technical and impressive way. It's a limited edition of 50 pieces, and it basically uses it's a titanium case, and it has a bit of a MBNF vibe. It has a bit of a Uhrwerk. It really has
Rebellion.
Yeah, that kind of out there. And so the key takeaway from it is basically that it has these linear weights that go back and forth within the case to wind the movement. And then the time display is using these sort of cylindrical, these sort of disc type cylinder displays. It's people will be seeing a picture on the screen, so
racing car vibes, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah. It has a bit of those Bvlgari watches,
exactly.
that kind of format. Very impressive price tag, €275,000.
If you say it really quickly,
it's still a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true.
I tried to say it as quick as I could, but it's still a lot of money. Perfect. And then,
but again, just to stick on this a little bit,
it's
easy to make fun of Hublot and within the community.
Well, this is constant.
This is the kind of watch that also showcases from Hublot's side.
Yeah, but I also feel, like you say, it's too easy, to be honest. And perhaps in the past there was a certain point to it, but I visited Hublot Manufacture 2 times now in the past few years. It's really impressive what they do. So I also feel it's not really justified to make fun of them. I mean, people can think it's funny, and there's a lot of memes, and of course sometimes they are funny, but in the end, I think they do a pretty nice job.
Absolutely,
and that's overlooked to them. And that's what a watch like this can also showcase. Look at the technical capabilities that they have.
Yeah,
it's like to be taken seriously.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And then moving on from that, we have a Big Bang Unico Saxon Green. Which is not a sapphire case; it's a Saxon case. It's a different compound, and you're gonna have to read the article, which is live on the website right now. But it's a different material, but it's a sort of a see-through green case with the Unico chronograph classic look to it.
It's almost sapphire. The thing is, both is aluminum oxide. But then if you have sapphire, you add some kind of metallic oxides to it to get the color.
Aluminium.
And for aluminum is the base of sapphire.
Oh, yeah.
Aluminum oxide is the sapphire, and then the coloring that comes from some metallic oxides that they add to it.
Right.
And with the Saxum, I believe it's the rare earth. I think they're using.
Yeah.
So I believe the base is the same, but how they get the color out, that's a different way.
Okay.
With the Saxum.
There was something about the crystalline structure as well.
Molecular structure,
it was
whatever,
yeah, it's very up there, and again, very impressive, right? It's cool that there's watch brands that are really, going above and beyond. And we talk about it. Watches are somewhat superfluous objects with our phones in our pockets. So it's cool to see certain brands really go out there and do stuff that's truly impressive like this. And then moving on, this was a favorite from Watches and Wonders last year, the Orlinsky watches. We had the chronograph in titanium last year, and now we have the classic Fusion Aero Fusion Orlinsky ceramic. So obviously ceramic cases, there's 2 of them. There is a yellow model and a sky blue model. The yellow one has a black contrasting dial, and the sky blue one has a lighter colored. They're skeletonized dials, and these are very cool, very sharp geometric cases, and I believe they both come on a rubber strap, color match rubber strap. And those are the Saxon Green, the Unico is 121,000, and this one is 99,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously the prices are up there. But I mean, it's.
I'm very conservative, I would say, in my taste for watches. Nobody would disagree. And for Hublot, for me, it's still the classic Fusion. That would be the one I would get.
Sure.
I have tremendous respect for the Big Bang and what they did there.
Yeah.
But the classic Fusion for me is the one. Yeah.
I do like the Orlinsky collaboration. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. I'm sure.
Orlinsky.
Orlinsky. I had a titanium one on my wrist. There's just one thing that was a little bit off-putting for me, and that's I was expecting the case to be a little bit sharper. I thought
Okay.
the angles were a little bit too round.
I know what you mean.
But
I know what you mean.
that was the only thing. I'm not sure what it's like for the ceramic models now.
Mhm.
It was a bit organic, I would say,
Yeah.
the shape. Yeah.
Exactly, that's it. I do think though it's a great collaboration. Like if you think Hublot, think about what was it, Nestle, not
Oh, the Nespresso.
Nespresso collaborator.
yeah.
God damn it!
Yeah.
But the Orlinsky one, that is really nice. I think it's a great fit because
For sure.
the character of that guy, of that artist, it matches the
Yeah.
personality of Hublot as well.
Mhm.
So I think it's really like some kind of synergy effect going on here.
Yeah.
It's a cool
For
watch.
sure.
Agreed. Yeah.
Perfect. And so that leaves us to Zenith,
Yes.
which I think I don't mean to speak out of turn, but I think that was kind of what we found to be the most impressive impressive releases, or at least the ones that really caught our eye. I believe that if you say a bit more of a conservative taste for watches, then these are both quite classic models.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what they're called.
Chronomaster Sport and the Chronomaster Original.
So let's start with the Chronomaster Original Triple Calendar.
Yeah, beautiful.
Moon phase triple calendar. It's got
That's
this
my
classic look.
pick. That's my pick.
Yeah, I have to say. Which
Yeah.
one of the three? Because there's three. There's a panda dial.
the
there's
panda.
a light gray with some rose gold accents.
Yes, and there's a green
and there's
one.
a green one.
Yeah, no, the panda one.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I'm a bit conservative when it comes to these things, and I also look at, will I like this watch in 5 or 10 years from now?
Right.
And although the green one is super nice,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a color that will stay with me.
It's very bright. It's a
but
very,
I also have to say, I had the same feeling when back in the 90s, I looked at the Seamaster 300M in blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if blue is going to stay. So
right.
I was wrong.
Right.
So I can be very wrong with this as well.
Well, it would match your shoes.
That's true. But for now, I would pick. I'm wearing the Air Force Ones in white and green for the listeners. But for now, I would go for the Panda one. But I really like the Chronomaster Original
Bracelet
triple
or,
calendar.
Bracelet or rubber?
I would buy it on a
leather?
bracelet. I think it's 13,400 Swiss francs on a bracelet,
Correct.
and 12.9 with the strap.
Correct.
So I would just buy it on a bracelet and get an additional strap. But I like it better with the strap.
Okay. Cool. I agree. For me, it's also the Panda. I like the light gray, but I have to say the Panda is it's really good, and it really takes the complication well. I like that it breaks the symmetry with the 430 classic El Primero.
I love the date at 4:30. I have it as well.
You have it on
El
this?
Primero today.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that it's a watch that suits that complication extremely well, and it's just like really well done.
And
super balanced.
38 millimeters, so that will also please a lot of diameter police kind of people. I think it really works well. Shouldn't be bigger, to be honest. So I think the size is spot on, jokes aside. And
Absolutely.
I think the price is also not that crazy, to be honest. I mean, it's a lot of money, but for what you get, in-house movement, triple calendar.
Looking at the bigger picture, it fits in.
If you compare to similar watches from other brands, I think it's not a bad deal at all, to be honest.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And then, of course, last but not least, the Chronomaster Sport Green, which I believe the first thing you said, well, hadn't we already seen this watch? There was the limited edition that was released, I think, last year.
Yeah,
3 months ago or so. I think,
not super long, and so that was with also matching green subdials. But this has the classic, the classic blue, gray, and silver or white subdials of this model, and then obviously with a green ceramic bezel and matching strap. That one is priced at 10,900 on the bracelet and 10,400 on a rubber strap. And there was also one more release from Zenith.
The gold one.
The gold one.
The meteorite dial.
With a meteorite dial.
That's brilliant.
Gem set.
Awesome.
With the bezel matching the subdials as well. So that was
Miami again.
Very impressive. Baguette cut diamond markers. And again, just I'm not going to wear it.
No, 98K.
I don't have to even grapple with the price, which is correct. But it's just cool to see.
Yeah.
It looks nice. It's that watch is just. It's impressive.
I think it did a tremendous job with the Chronomaster Sport. And when it first came out, I think 2020, 2021, was a lot of comparison with the Rolex Daytona, which I get to some extent. I do feel that the Zenith offers a little bit more in terms of play with the bracelet, with the case. It's a bit more playful. And but still, the Chronomaster Original, that's the one for me. I really like it.
I agree. What would you say is your favorite, Timo, of the ones we've seen?
For me, it's probably the one with the gray and rose gold elements.
Okay.
Because I have a soft spot for rose gold elements
true.
on my
It
watches.
sort of goes along with.
I always think it's
yeah.
a nice contrast to have. But Zenith in general, they're doing a bang-on job when it comes to technology, the movement technology that they have, the history that they bring with them. It's amazing. So I think also the price point is completely all right for the watches that they offer.
I agree.
There are a lot of people who are complaining and saying, well, don't buy that retail, look at the secondary market. But yeah.
It's always an option, but hey, some people just prefer to take the stickers off the watches themselves, I guess.
That's it.
No, but Zenith is truly impressive. We toured the manufacturer a couple of years ago, and that was incredible in the history of the brand. Visiting the attic where they hid the blueprints and all these things. It was just very, very cool. So finally, a question for you guys: what do you think about this concept of the LVMH Watch Week? Just kicking off the year nice and early, and already
it's not the first time. Last time I think it was in Asia. I think Singapore, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I was not there, but before they did it in Dubai, I was there as well. I like the concept because it's just 3 or 4 brands at the time. I think it was 3 brands. Now they do more because last time they didn't include TAG Heuer in Dubai. But I like the concept because it's 1.5, 2 days max, where you have the product presentations, you can do the interviews, you have the time to really explore the new watches, and ask the representatives or the CEO even of the brand who is there to ask you questions about these watches. And I think that's a really cool format. So it brings a bit of you are at ease, more or less, because at Watches and Wonders, you know this from last year's. You're running around, you get 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, and in between you have to run and prepare and so on. And this is just a nice, relax is not the right word.
Focused.
But it's very focused. Right? You get 2 days, and they take, and also the brands, they have all the time for you. Right. That's also, of course, different at Watches and Wonders. And I get that because they have hundreds, perhaps even thousands of visitors. And they need to divide their attention.
Yeah, and it's a good scope because you have the 4 main brands, if you want to look at it this way.
Yeah.
And it's, focused.
Yeah, it's very focused. And I think that's what I like about LVMH Watch Week. We see the same locally. Swatch Group is doing something similar for everything up to Longines, I guess. And in the past, there was a time to move once or twice where all the Swatch Group brands were, but they stopped that, which I find a pity because I think it's nice to have these focused events, like you say, where the brands have time for you, you have time for the brands.
Yeah.
And that said, I also like Watches and Wonders because it's busy, it's stressful, and so on. You need to decompress the week after, but
it's good that it's once a year.
Yes, exactly. But I like the other events that are a bit more in a different pace.
And Geneva Watch Days and some of the smaller events.
Yeah, Dubai Watch Week. I think it's a nice event. LVMH Watch Week is, I think, here to stay.
Cool.
Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, I think that with that, I was thinking whether we should do a comment of the week, but we might keep that, I think, for the
regular one,
the regularly scheduled programming. So with that, thanks for joining me for this one, guys, and thank you for tuning in to this special episode of Fratello Talks for LVMH Watch Week. We hope you enjoyed it, and of course, tune in on Thursday for the standard scheduled episode. See you then.